All right.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sahaj Tales podcast. And this is episode 2. And today's guest is DG. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well, Sahaj. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. Honored to be here.
Yeah. So, obviously, what we discussed earlier was that we'll talk about, you know, artist wages and subsidies for rentals for
Yes, yes,
artists. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, being a part of the community theater scene for about this, I think it's going to be my eighth year now, uh,
Okay.
and it's growing, right? It's growing at a really good pace. It's great to see so many new faces every year,
Yeah. Now
and
it
then
is. It is growing at a good pace.
absolutely, and
It's a lot.
uh,
I know it's a lot of people. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
first of all, yeah, so many new faces, and it's your eighth year, like you said. It's also my basically, I think it's about my ninth year almost because
Great.
2023 is just started. So technically, it's 8 years still going on for me too. So yeah.
Oh wow! So you're senior then. You're senior to me. You're a senior member.
No. I said it's the same thing. It's almost yeah.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
almost
No,
eight
no.
years because 2023 has just started, and my journey started in September 2014. So yeah,
Okay. Well,
it'll be 9 years
I
in December.
started in 2015. So yeah, you're a few months ahead of me in the community. That's great.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion
Then back
about
then, like
Go on. Sorry, I cut you off.
about
Go
what?
on.
No. Go on. Yeah, you were saying my opinion about.
No, no. As the topics that we discuss that we'll talk about. So, what's if you have an opinion about subsidies for performance areas? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do have many thoughts on that. In fact, okay, this is one thing. So, performing spaces are a bit tricky, aren't they? Because there are not so many of them as you would expect in a city like Dubai, right? And let's say renting one place, I think for even smaller purposes, it's extremely expensive. And
Exactly.
I agree with their stance of making it expensive to a certain degree. I think so because you need to have quality productions in those areas, in those places, and quality, sort of not just productions but work in general, so that even even when like you are deciding to perform something, you have to make sure that you put on a good show for them as well, so that it helps them too. That's what I really think about this. Uh,
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective. I think it all again boils down to subsidies in a way that if we since the rental spaces are expensive, right? So we have to charge really high in terms of tickets. But then that the aspect of finance, it doesn't necessarily mean that just because I'm paying more, I'm going to see a good show, right? I can pay 500 dirhams for a ticket, for example, but the show can be an absolute mess. So I don't in my
yeah,
opinion, I don't think the
yeah,
money, I mean, paying more or paying less has to do anything with quality, because we've had productions, who have which have been nominated for the best production in various magazines and publications and things like that. So, yeah.
yeah. I mean, like let's just say for Shortlist Suite, for example, which we both are participating in, by the way.
Hmm.
There's so many new artists who come in and just blow everyone out of the water as well. I mean, there's at least one surprise contender.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. That's why the community is such a great space, because you can have no experience at all, past experience, and then you can come on stage and absolutely own it. And that's great to see, right? That's great to see there are so many talented faces in a small space, because Dubai is as they say, Dubai, everybody knows everybody in Dubai. It's a small space, so it's good to see talented
Yeah,
faces coming up every year, raising the bar, raising the competition. It helps us grow as artists, right?
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
this is what I really think. For example, and the one of the major things which has happened right now, which is like happening right now, is that a lot of people are starting younger, like so that they can establish themselves in this community. So you can see a lot of school kids, participating in Short Plus Sweet, for example, as part of their sort of curriculum or something. Let's just say, for example, their extracurricular activities, they are able to participate in Short Plus Suite and put on a play which they want to do there. For example, and it really encourages artists to start off young, and that's what's happening right now. And that's not what was happening back in 2013 or 2014, for that matter, that much.
Yeah, absolutely. Frankly, I must admit, I'm quite jealous because growing up, we grow up we grow up watching movies and TV shows, but when I was a kid, there weren't as many acting classes or performance related classes happening around. So, and I mean, it's good that so many students are getting these opportunities, but I so wish we had the
Yeah.
opportunities as well. You could have can say where we'd be if we had the opportunities.
Well, we were. I think you were in IHS as well. So like there was Sheikh Rashid Auditorium, which could have been used as a big space, by the way, to perform all kinds of theater
Well,
more often rather
uh,
than these corporate events and all that stuff.
shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's not talk about that space. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, the
but
opportunity. Well, we
I
know
just
what opportunities we get in these schools. So,
yeah. So like
unfortunately.
let's just say, okay, to elaborate on performing art spaces and all that. Do you know what happened to Duck Duck? What really happened? Do you know the story about it? So
Unfortunately, I do not. It's been a while since I've been performed since I've performed at that tag, so I'm not really sure what happened with that space.
and of course there's Medina Theatre, which is like really huge, and if you just look at the space itself,
Yeah,
and if you have
it's
been there, I don't know.
yeah. I've been there. I worked on a production at the Medina long back back in my college days. I was helping the production team, so it was a good experience. Yeah.
So what is the production called?
Frankly, I don't remember. It was an international troupe, and it was an original play, so I can't remember the name. It wasn't established production as yet. It was an international troupe. They had come up with their own play, and they were traveling all over the world. And
Oh,
Dubai had invited them to perform because they've been receiving back then some really good reviews. So
yeah.
they were here, yeah. But unfortunately, I didn't get to perform at Medina. I haven't gotten to perform yet, but I wish one day. Is that space still open? I don't know if it's still operational or
It
not.
is. It is still open. It is still open. It's just that it is extremely expensive to rent. As we are
Exactly.
talking about,
Exactly. See
about renting
but I
spaces.
think those spaces, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I don't think they come under community theater. That is more of
Yeah,
actually, I don't know the terminology. What can I call them? But I don't think that would be part of community theater. Yeah.
just theater,
So I would say
just
like
theater. Because I no,
Duck Tag, the Junction, and I think a couple of other spaces. I can't recall the names at the moment, but yeah, I think they would cater more to the
Oud
community,
Mehta
right?
Theater as well. Oud Mehta Theater as
Yes,
well, which is like
that one as
local.
well. Yeah, I haven't visited there yet, but yeah, I've heard a lot. It's coming up. Past couple of years, a lot of performances
Yeah,
happening
it's
there.
that has kind of come up from nowhere in terms of getting performances done, and uh, different sort of performances done. In fact, like for example, like it was closed during COVID. I mean, not closed exactly, but everything was kind of sort of shut down in a way. And then Oud Mehta
Unfortunately.
Theater just came up, sort of.
Yeah, but we
It's
need
it was
to.
it's not a new theater. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, we need to discuss
We need to
we
watch.
can't blame these spaces to keep the rental costs very high because the rents are sorry, the ticketing costs very high because the rentals are so expensive. But so that's why I talk
Yeah.
about subsidies for art, because we see international productions coming to Dubai in terms of film and television, but I think some of that some of that money can be funneled through for the community theater scene in Dubai, because there's so much happening, but unfortunately we're not able to grow because of the monetary aspect of it. So, but
Hmm.
I have to say the UAE government has done brilliantly in terms of giving visas, right? They've given golden visas to artists as well. So they recognize the art. So that's a brilliant step that they've taken. But I think that step just needs to be elaborated a little bit more now, so that artists can start getting paid as well in the community
Yeah,
scene.
exactly. I feel yes, the community, artists, need to get paid as well. It really helps everyone involved,
Hmm.
because first of all, it gives people a chance to like sort of it's already giving a chance for people to showcase their talent, but more than just showcasing their talent, at least a platform to earn money through their art and encourage people to come even more into the
Absolutely,
scene.
another way to, as you said,
Because I was
motivate
having a chat with
people.
someone.
Yeah, go on, go on.
Yeah, so I was having a chat with someone, and so what he said was that, like, yeah, when you invest in community theater or short films for that matter, you get no returns, or you because you think that you might get something if you win something in a short film
Hmm.
festival, or or if you like put on a show for community theater and all that. But the thing is, you have to look at everything which is what the scene is like, and then decide whether to part with your money or not. That's how it works here. And this is why, let's say, even I, for example, I'm also like looking into getting into theater, not just more. I mean, not that I wasn't into theater earlier, but getting into theater more, and working on bigger projects like feature films or something, or feature films or web series or OTT, series on OTT platforms in general. Like, for example,
Yep.
because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
will help you get on the pathway of earning something. So
Right.
that's
Right.
how it
Right.
works. And yeah, that's what I really think. And the
Yeah, that's what.
community
That's why
theater is,
the subsidies have to come in because of that, right? So uh, right now we're doing it as a hobby, and we love performing. We love theater in general, but we love the art of acting and writing and directing and whatnot. But at the end of the day, yeah, financial compensation is necessary, of some sort. Everybody needs a little bit, because
yeah,
without money, what you can't survive. We can't survive without money, right? So a little bit of that, I think everybody should get a piece of. But yeah, until it's subsidized, I don't see that happening, unfortunately.
like hosts and MCs get paid a lot. DJs get paid decent
Yeah, yeah,
wages.
yeah.
Why not,
And
theater artists?
absolutely, and rightly so. I mean, emceeing and DJing is not an easy art. It's a very
Yeah,
difficult thing that these guys do, man. Going on stage and entertaining a crowd, it's very difficult. So kudos to them, whoever is able to do
yeah,
that.
and the hard as performers ourselves, we also know that the hardest thing about performing is reading a crowd, or sometimes it is reading the room.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Very important to
Because
read the crowd,
sometimes we
entertain
can
the
get
crowd
caught
the,
up in
the
our own
right way.
performances and fail to read the room as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's
Can you
talk
please
about
repeat?
let's talk about our second topic about wages. So wages for not only, I mean, let's move away from community theater, but wages for commercials and things like that. So
Yeah,
have you been involved in any commercial
yeah.
work
Let's talk
or?
about wages for actors and all that.
Yeah. Have you been
So
involved in
this
anything?
is, yeah, I had been involved in the past, but not currently.
Hmm.
Commercial work. The latest thing I've been involved in terms of commercial work, which will lead to money, which I'm pretty confident about it, is a web series which I did recently, and it's come. The clips of it are coming up very nicely. So I'm happy here, because it's like the job market in general. Also, to get a job, you need experience, and to get experience, you need a job, and all that.
Yeah,
The whole thing.
that's everywhere. That's our generation is, it's unfortunate for us.
Yeah,
There's very
and
little scope of learning or entry level jobs unless you know people,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. So the way which is generally done to start off is basically collaborations, but collaborations, in my opinion, work only when you're starting out, right? And when you're learning new things. Okay, and you find people to collaborate with, and they will also help you with doing those
Yeah.
projects. Like I started off doing collaborations, proper collaborations, when I was 21, and in a way, I kind of stopped doing collaborations unless it's really promising at the age of
Hmm.
sort of 24,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm merged into something, which can help me earn some more and help my own profile grow as a person and as a you know person working in the community. Basically, that's the theater community and film community. This is how it works. But uh, as far as wages for actors are concerned, yes, there are many
Yeah. So I.
groups which help in casting and all that. But I was talking to a friend about this a few hours back, in fact. Uh, so Dubai is a place, let's just say, where a lot of theater and film education is not quite formalized in a way. So when
Yeah.
I say it's not formalized, a lot of people who you meet are self-taught, and they've started off. They have their own journey, which is okay, which is something I do respect. But then what happens with you know doing things which work repeatedly for them and being in a safe space almost, what happens is that they get stuck in patterns, and they try to replicate and repeat what's worked for them in the past, and you don't know what the results are.
No, I
Sometimes
say
it works, sometimes
I
it doesn't
think
work out, and
I
it
think
feels.
we're digressing from the point. I feel so. We're talking about wages, right? So we have to split it. Like there's stuff happening in terms of collaboration, as you mentioned. It's a very good point. There is stuff happening which is for student films, and I understand obviously as a student if you're making a film for your projects or you want to submit it to universities for education purposes, obviously the payment shouldn't be involved there because as a student you're not going to be able to afford something. And also I understand the fact that a lot of us are independent filmmakers of sorts, right? We've made short films using our phones, right? And
Yeah.
we shoot it in our own houses. And so again, for stuff like that, I don't think I think collaboration should still work because that way a lot of newbies, because we were newbies at one point in time, right? So that way a lot of us can gain
Yes, we
experience.
were.
But when we talk about commercial work, as you know, we see advertisements or casting calls that say we're looking for actors and 12 hours of shooting and we're going to pay you 300 or 400 dirhams. And unfortunately, one side of that coin is that we shouldn't take these jobs because they're not paying us enough and they're keeping a big chunk of the money. But on the other hand, there are so many actors available to do those jobs, right? So it's a
Yeah.
vicious cycle. So experienced actors like both of you, like you and me, you and I, sorry, we have to take up such jobs. We have to accept that payment because there are other people who are going to do it. So I mean, there's no way unless this is regulated. There's a need of regulation of these wages for artists. Unless that's
Yes,
there, I
yes,
don't
it's true.
think things can change because as I understand, casting companies or I don't know what they are, these agencies or whatnot. They keep a big chunk of commission from what they get per artist, right? So that
Yeah.
needs to be the transparent, at least some kind of transparency there from agencies is needed as well, along with regulation.
Yes, I do feel like everything needs, yeah, wages and structures of, payments and all that need to be regulated, and not just informally but formally regulated.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I would, I mean, on this show, I would say openly that I would suggest that someone like an agency, a body like 2454 can regulate something like this
No,
in Abu
I
Dhabi. So,
again
for
I
example, from Abu Dhabi and Dubai and other places like every other place in the UAE. But of course, since they have to take care of their own of their own Emirates work, it has to be something of a centralized body, which is for artists and all that.
No, I don't think
Yeah,
production houses like the one you mentioned have any authority to regulate this industry. It has to, as you said, we need a centralized body, which is probably from the government or a semi-governmental organization who has the authority to take decisions, to authority for legislature and things like that. So they can have a deep view, an overall view of how these wages and payment systems have been working for artists, and I think they can come up with a good system where things are transparent. The artist can get paid directly from the client and not the agency, and then yeah, and then we can move ahead from there. It's going to be a learning curve for everybody, right? We're going to grow as we keep moving with new regulation, as all other industries.
yeah. So, what was your experience in, like, getting paid as an artist and all of that? You know, how did it feel? What did it make any difference? I mean, I'm asking too many questions, but like, if you could like elaborate.
No, I mean, as I said, I've been paid well sometimes, and I've been paid really, really low wages. It doesn't feel good, but I mean, on one side, it was great to learn. I got to learn a lot of things. I get to meet new people. I love meeting new people. But again, yeah, getting paid such low wages, just as 300 or 400 for an entire day's work, I think that's really unfair. And there are agencies who even recruit. Okay, this is an unpaid thing. We apologize, but the client does not have a budget, which I don't think is appropriate. If someone's going to ask me to shoot a commercial for them, for their company, for their brand, obviously I'm going to demand payment, right? No one's going to do anything for free. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that doesn't feel good as an artist. It feels like my experience or my talent, it's not worth anything, right? So it makes me feel that way. How about you? What's your experience been like?
I've been paid few times, not like a lot, because I've done
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
collaborations. I mean, but I have been paid. It's happened to me, but yeah, it was justified for me. For example, in my case, like, I got paid about 500 dirhams for a day's work, so like, which is decent for a day's work. But beyond that payment, okay, it has been difficult to get. For example, I mean, and that's what I branched out into different other thing, into various other things now. So um, that's what my experiences have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
getting paid. But and it has been reasonable for me. Like, I feel like I have a habit of choosing my projects very carefully, whatever I do in this
That
community,
that's
or
great.
whatever I
That's
do.
very good on you. Absolutely, that's a good approach to things. You just don't accept jobs that you don't want to do, and that's great. It keeps you mentally sane, and just keeps you in love with the art. You don't move away
Yeah,
from the art
it's
of things.
yeah, yeah. Every single thing's an experience. Everything you learn from working on some kind of film or theater, you know, experience, like, or play or anything. It's an experience in itself. It's You learn so much from all the artists and director and everyone else around you, your whole crew and cast. Every single thing, you just learn a lot from everyone around you. Yeah, it's an interesting situation, and you because of the experiences you gain, you know what to do next. It's like this intuitive ability of knowing what to do next, almost
Yeah,
next
as
time.
you learn every day, right? You learn every day as
Yeah,
an artist. Every role you take, every production, different production house you work with, every director you work with, every actor you work with, everybody has something different to bring to the table, right? And you learn something from everybody. Everybody, yeah.
yeah,
I think the minute we stop learning is when we stop growing as artists.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
That
Sahaj.
being said, I want to ask.
We- yeah, yeah.
I want to
Let's
ask a
finish it
question.
up quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, okay. Before that, what do you think about the wage structure? For example, do you think the wage structure should be per hour or something depending on the scale of the project? Which one do you think is more appropriate? What would you prefer if that was?
Again, so that's it depends on the kind of project. If it's if it's, let's say, a big banner film and your shoot date, you're going to be filming for a month, or maybe 6 or 7 weeks, then I think a lump sum figure is better, right? It's better. But then if you're doing something which is like a 3 day shoot or a day shoot or 4 or 5 day shoot, then I think per hour is it's better, because then they can pay you by the hour. You can do your scene in that whatever hours pay that, or work that they've given you, and then you can leave. You don't have to stick around unless you're needed.
Yeah,
So it all depends on the project that's happening.
yeah, yeah,
Like, for example, actually, I had worked. I worked with T Series in India, and they had a very good pay structure. So some of the artists in the movie, they have a lump sum figure because they have a big shooting schedule, and some of the artists, they have a
yeah,
daily wage. I mean, in advance, they've been told that these are the dates you'll be performing, and this is the payment that you'll be receiving. So it's great.
yeah,
They know in advance. They know how many hours they're going to be there, and they also have a clause that if the shooting goes on for more than these set of hours, they'll get paid overtime. So it's all written
yeah,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's that's an interesting experience that you shared about T series. I mean, obviously working in with different, let's say, companies and even bigger companies, you just know sometimes it's the advantage sometimes is knowing the terms that you're working on, and
Yeah.
that really helps. And you kind of know what you're signing up for, at least. you know so that's good. That's one of
Yeah.
the
Exactly.
advantages.
There's no room for uncertainty, right? And you know what you're getting. It's basically, there's no room for any qualms later on. Once you start working, you know what you're getting into, basically.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
that's true. Anyway, DG, it was a pleasure having you in this show and in this episode. And thank you so much for coming on. This is the end of the second episode of the Sahaj Tales podcast. And we'll see you soon.
Absolutely, Sahaj. Thank you for having me. And as I said, it's an honor to be here. And I wish you the best in your upcoming episodes. And I hope this a
Thank
lot
you.
of
Thank you
people
so much.
listen to your podcast, and you can take this somewhere else. So good luck. Good luck, Sahaj.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, DG. It was a pleasure having you today on the show.
The pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you,
Thank
Sahaj.
you.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.